give a shit. I'm here for it. There's a lot to talk about with this movie, too.
Oh, so much.
Mm-hmm.
So much.
Oh, yeah.
Should we get into it?
So original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Now I like just winding up with it. Now it's the bluff of...
Take it away, host.
I don't know why it came out a little bit, was it Home Improvement? Yeah.
Why are there two people in this group who can do that?
I got a friend who can do it perfectly.
You do it very well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I have to record him doing it. His is perfect.
Welcome.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes we go on that level. Anyway, yeah, well, because we bantered for like 30
Can you not do
minutes.
that in sign language? Is that it?
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
Did you miss it?
2.
Dylan actually
The
kind
FN
of
movie.
Dylan actually kind of knows sign language though.
FN movie. I don't know podcast. I'd have to spell it out. Podcast.
Dylan, keep that energy up.
I don't know host. I'm not going to finger spell it all the way through. I'm pretty rusty. Welcome to the FN Movie Podcast for all the hearing listeners. I'm your host, Dylan Camacho. Today with me... Oh, God, I used my last name on that one. That's strange. Cut that.
Find him.
Cut it. Also, Mason Rector. Mason Steele Rector.
Oh, God.
He lives in Oakland.
Oh, no.
Just doxing now.
Yeah, dox him. His IP address is. We've got Nathan and Bryce. You can find Bryce. No, that's not true. Bryce Bell. He's in Nashville. Let him know. What's the bro apartments? The
Low bro.
This is the low bro. No, I'm kidding. This means that you got to put the extra work to cut the right there on this one. Anyway. Welcome to the FN Movie Podcast. We're your hosts. You know who we are. Mason, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about Coda, and I want Price to get found and killed before someone finds and kills me, so yes. All of that information was necessary.
He gave my apartment complex.
Yes, I did. It's big, though. We couldn't even find it.
Yeah, bro, trust me, there's 6 of them, and you only think that there's 1, so...
Whatever. Moving soon.
Today we're talking about Coda. It's a very new movie from 2021.
Yeah.
Basically a teen comedy drama. And it's basically about a girl who grows up with a deaf family. Her parents and brother's deaf, and she has to find her way through school and figure out how she can pursue her passion, which is singing, while she is helping her fishing family do all of the fishing things. And then that's pretty much it. There's just a struggle along the way that she has to decide one or the other.
Yeah, well, just to immediately jump into it, you say that she is trying to find a way to balance this, like, family life and her personal ambition. I don't think she's trying to balance it at all in this movie, because I think the moment she sees the opportunity to be a singer, then the whole family stuff just goes by the wayside almost immediately and hard.
Yep.
It's kind of ridiculous. I feel like this character is the most selfish character I've seen in a movie in a long time.
Price said that about, like, who was it? Who was it?
I don't remember. You can tell me. I'll probably
No,
agree.
it was The Big Sick. He said that about The Big Sick.
Oh,
That's right,
yeah.
he did say it was.
So
Yeah.
I
be
stand by.
careful.
The Big
Wow.
Sick guy is more selfish, in my opinion, than her.
Hold on, I want to hear this out a little bit.
Yeah, go for
I want
it.
to hear. Hold on, so
Why don't we
selfish.
just do that? We could do that for the question.
No.
Okay.
All right. Or it could be the question now.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Sure, the question.
All right,
Questions here.
Who's more selfish, the guy in The Big Sick or main girl here?
Okay, I will say that the guy in The Big Sick is 35 years old, roughly. This girl is 17. I don't think that this girl is old enough to be making completely selfish, like, crazy decisions. So I
Right.
don't think it's selfishness. I
So-
just think
so
that
are
it's
we giving-
indecisiveness.
Are we
and it's-
giving wiggle room for them being teenagers who are
Yes.
notoriously more selfish than...
Well, yeah, just coming into everything.
Yeah,
but if I had to guess, or if I had to answer, I guess it's him. But yeah, this girl's really young, so I don't know about selfishness.
All right, Dylan, what about you then?
I'm not seeing a strong argument for both still, to be honest.
Yeah,
but,
I don't know.
I'll give it to Kamal's character in this instance, because I think we're underselling a little bit on how she's trying her selfishness, which is why I want to hear more about it. But yeah, I'd give it to Kamal between these two, I suppose.
That was an immediate question. We probably should have dove into it a little bit first.
Maybe talk
So
about
we should probably mention the context a little bit with her. Okay, so did you mention that she was the hearing person in the deaf family?
She's the interpreter.
Right, and by proxy, she is forced to have to be like her family's interpreter because again, they're deaf and they don't have an interpreter on hand, so she is continually having to be that role. Right. Yeah. I feel like that context is kind of important to flesh out why the family is important in the first place.
Which happens a lot more than just in deaf families. I see families all the time. Hispanic families, Asian,
Sure, yeah, you go into different speaking language families, and one kid knows how to speak English, and then the rest of the family's just like...
So this is not so rare.
No, this isn't exclusive to deaf families.
Yeah, I mean, this story in particular is completely rare and seems a little unlikely, but... Yeah, I mean, this kind of situation is pretty common to have a kid like having to be saddled with that kind of responsibility.
Sure. So, all right, where's the split on the selfish thing here? Like for you, how do you grade her into like being the most selfish? Because that's a bold statement.
I said one of the most.
Well, one of all right. We'll put her in the sure.
I don't know. I mean, it's very clear that her family relies on her very strongly, and she goes from being very much a part of the family and being that key position to just dropping it. And also, like, at one point, whenever I can't remember for sure if it was when they got in trouble for not having anybody that could listen on the boat.
Yeah, because they can't hear
the observer.
Her dad was saying that she didn't tell him that she wasn't going to be there that day.
Yeah,
right.
She was supposed to.
They had the big fight the
night before.
The night before.
Yeah. So like even things as simple as that, like sure you want to do something else, okay, maybe tell somebody.
Yeah. Well, and that plus like you said, that my biggest qualm with this movie is like the parents, because like that mom doesn't do a damn thing until she runs the books for their little side company, and that irritated the hell out of me because it was only...
Well, she'd been running the books up until that point.
I don't know. I don't think she did.
No, they mentioned before that she runs the books whenever they're talking about their current fishing business.
Oh, well, there's not many things to run. I mean, it wasn't even a co-op at that point. But anyways, she was meant to be the beauty pageant winner back in the day, the deaf beauty pageant winner, and she basically just doesn't work, which is fine until... she starts like basically berating her daughter for wanting to sing, and she to me was the worst character.
Oh, when she said, what was it like you? If
whenever you were born.
No, she said if I was blind, would you want to be a painter? I was like,
oh shit.
Yeah. She does say something to that effect, right?
She also said whenever she was born, she was praying that she was.
No, but she was making the point that like she was wanting to be able to connect with their daughter,
right?
But then when they said that she could hear,
right, I don't think at all there's any malicious intent by her wanting her to be deaf. I think it's a connecting thing, but B, I think that, and it's strange in this movie. There's a big sense of community within deaf culture, typically speaking, but in this one, they're clearly the only family in that town. So that doesn't. That's both presented and not presented in both sides of like this.
Because the love interest was talking about how he saw them eat dinner or something when he was years ago. And he like noticed them and took note of what was going on. So like they're very much a novelty in this town.
And they are what seems like a small northeastern town because everybody looks like they're
somewhere in Massachusetts.
Frustrated. Yeah, Massachusetts. That's right.
Everyone has Boston.
I know it was northeastern because everybody's at a bar midway through the day and everybody's waiting to fight. So I'm like, yeah, this is fucking the Northeast already. I know exactly. If we have Northeastern fans, I'm sorry. Not maybe you. You're clearly a classy, educated folk if you tuned into the effing podcast. But all the people you live around, animals. Anyway,
Okay.
The whole Northeast. Right. I'll say it. That's fine.
Nathan, to what you said earlier, I don't know if it was on camera or not. This is a very typical, everything is copy-paste as far as the...
very formulaic to what a teen drama / comedy would be. Like, this doesn't feel like it stands out at all. like it's got its one gimmick,
yes.
and that's what every film like this does. Is it has a gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Earl is cancer.
But Me and Earl is done better than this movie.
Oh, absolutely.
It's done much better than this movie. It's chaptered. There's a lot of things that are way better. A lot more time goes by where
Does
you
chapter
actually feel it.
help? Would this have chapters and what?
No, I'm not saying that was its strongest suit. I'm just saying like it's based off of the book, which is also like I don't know. Anyways,
no, I wanna. There are two things that really get me about this movie, and
grind his gears.
Honestly, the first one is the fucking cinematography. How this movie looks based on how it's shot makes it feel cheap. It looks like it should be like it looks like it's shot like a TV movie.
Dive in. I don't understand.
So
like small shots.
If I put a trailer, like I can only explain it by like putting like if I put a trailer for, I don't know, Power of Dog. I'm not gonna say Power of Dog because that's like notable, good like cinematography. Okay. Just an average movie, right? And you put this up side by side, and then I put up like an ABC movie. You're gonna be like, it looks more like this than it does like this.
Okay, yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, like the shooting. I'm not gonna say cinematography as in like the shots or what's showing on the screen. It's just like I don't know if it's like a movie filter, so to speak, but like what's used. It just makes it look cheaper. And it's not that it like looks bad. It just looks cheaper in comparison. That's the only thing I could sit here with to describe it without having like visual aids to kind of like point that out. And we're not going to edit that in because Nathan already has to cut the first half of this with all the personal details like whatever. But no, it looks cheaper and it bothered me for most of the film. I was just like, I think like it's one of the things where it's just like if this just had. It felt like this is where they cut corners, right? Because they have like on set shots where obviously they're on the boat and then they're like taking shots out in the wild or like in the water and stuff like that. And I'm like, surely that has to like be more of the budget. But
they had a pretty intense action scene with
they did.
The
patrol boat. Like that's cool. There's no way that's cheap.
Those two like Coast Guard guys have been waiting for that day.
Yeah, they're like, fuck yeah, these deaf guys fucked up. Let's go. You know, like,
they drift up.
Yeah, because there definitely does have like a sense of bias.
Well, because they probably did have a target on them at that point because
because they'd already been pissing off
was
the
one who pissed off the people in charge.
Yeah, so he's probably like, yeah, get these guys. They're trying to mess with our capitalistic society. So you should like this movie more. They're fucking with the man at that point. But
that's the thing that I appreciate in a way. But I don't know.
Yeah.
And I get that they're using deafness as almost the gimmick or whatever for this movie, but it did enlighten me to like a lot of the small details that I really like. That's the main thing I took away from this movie.
Oh, the nuance of being like the tiny little things you don't think about.
Yeah, like when they're when they're getting ready for dinner and stuff, and she's sitting there trying to do her homework, but they're like setting down plates really hard, and they just they just don't realize it, and then she puts in her headphones, and her mom's like, "Why are you doing that?" She's like, "Well, y'all are being really loud. You just can't hear it." Mm-hmm. With my favorite scene in the whole movie. Being the bar scene where the brother goes out to the bar.
Bring up a different one, but yeah, the bar scene was interesting. Him just sitting there, it's like
because
looking at people not having any idea what's going on.
No, you can tell he's really wanting to be a part of what's going on. He wants to be in this culture, but he just can't. And he's like really trying. He's watching the lips, like trying to look when to smile, and like just clutching his beer, trying to figure out what's going on, and then have that fight. Which I like.
I think it's actually kind of interesting that he may or may not be able to grasp like a little bit of lip reading, like because again, it's not like a given that if you're deaf, you know how to lip read and be able to get by to a certain extent. But no, it looks like he's like trying because there's a lot of mouth shots in both for like for the facial thing and for that, which again I agree. I think is one of the really good nods of sitting here and saying like things you need to consider when you're deaf is just like all the little nuance moments and stuff like this. But like as often as he talks about feeling like frustrated with Ruby because he's just like, let me handle this. I want to say that they're giving like there's like they hint that he can a little bit, but it's not really like he's not very efficient at it in this scene. So this felt like a little contradictory because earlier on he's talking or he's communicating with the fishing guy, and then like Ruby comes in and he's like, yeah, she's fucking you. He's fucking you. Yeah. And then like he's like, let me handle it. Like obviously, so there was something going on before then. Because I think we're sitting in the negatives right now, but I do want to hit some positives here after this. But the other negative thing I want to say is there's one character that is okay. Let's play the question game again.
Okay. I gave a positive.
That's true. You did give a positive. What character feels like the worst cast character, if not like the most budget dime character in this film?
I'm going with the music teacher.
Teacher. Okay.
I thought he was fine. I mean was her best friend / love interest of the
brother, like the slutty girl. I'm not gonna say slutty. Whatever. She's a teenager. She's hooking up with people. Whatever. No shaming.
But why did your friend just tell me that she has herpes?
Yeah. Underrated scene. Okay, so you'd say the friend then, Mason.
I'm definitely gonna go with the love interest guy. Even though I liked him.
Now we're on the winner.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
This guy sucks, dude.
And that pisses me off because Sing Street, he's a good main character.
Yeah.
He's
that's where he's from.
Yeah. He's the main singer guy.
Okay, no, that makes total sense.
But he doesn't look like it, and he doesn't act like it, and he doesn't have that Irish accent, which is fine. But still, it's just
I feel like he phoned it in.
Yeah, he flattened it.
He came in like Bruce Willis on Glass, man. Or really,
I don't think he did that bad.
No, well, you're right. He's not that bad, but
Bruce Willis was terrible.
I don't know. He had that. He had that
good part.
He had a good part in theory. And actually, one of the things I think I underrate in this movie is the fact that the teen romance aspect of this film is fairly minor in relativity to the main plot's drama. This is much more teen drama than it is teen romance drama, right? Mm-hmm. They only have that one little kissing scene, and they're like, okay, we did it. We don't need to show them dating. We don't need to have them having fights. They did their one fight, and really that's inconsequential. But yeah, dude, it's not that he was so bad it was dragging or noticeable, but he just had a sense of feeling awkward in place of everything. And I don't know if it was, for me it felt like he was a little bit too old for the role. He looked like one of these people, you know how people will be 25 acting as 16-year-olds, you know?
And then Benchwarmers, I am 12.
Yeah. And I feel like that Hollywood is trying to play a little bit more easier with that concept. Now they're going at least to maybe 18 or 19 going to be a 16-year-old, but he felt like he was 22 or something, playing a 16-year-old. Mm. Was that anybody else or was that just me?
No,
I didn't really notice that so much.
I think they gave him just enough lines, just enough part. But you said, they basically just skated by, all right, this is a love interest, moving on.
Right.
And it was fine for it. But you're
credit
right,
where credit's due, the movie does not sit with the character for very long, and they don't try to make him.
It doesn't surprise you in the slightest with that arc.
Oh
yeah, you guys are gonna do a couples duet.
Yeah, as soon as you see that, I think we all were we know where this is going.
Mm-hmm. And that's just such eye-rolling, boring
cheesy,
storytelling.
Yeah.
It's nothing but just cheesy filler.
Yeah. But as far as the positives of this movie, speaking of the duet, love that song by them.
Yeah.
It is delightful. If you look it up on Spotify and actually hear the whole thing, it's really good. Even though I thought you were talking about earlier, Price, as far as a favorite scene and being able to see the small details. Whenever they're sitting in the audience, the parents and the brother,
and
they're
audition or
the
recital. The recital.
Yeah. Well, the first one, the high school.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And they just look around.
That one seemed more heavy-handed to me.
The recital?
Yeah, it was. It was a lot more than the ones that you mentioned.
Yeah.
But the ones that you mentioned were very intricate and small, like you said.
A lot smaller.
But as far as that, and then the music, her final recital piece was really good. I do like the music in this movie. The very first song, Feeling Good.
Yeah, Feeling.
Or one of those songs. Yeah. But yeah, I think that this movie has some good qualities, but it is so copy-paste for so many movies that I've probably put on here already, and that's my bad.
So probably with this first and or second most tolerance to it. I feel like this really is the grade scale for tolerance for this genre. Actually, so we sat really well in this.
Yeah, we did. This is the singular bar.
Right. This very was. This is the case with it. Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna go my way to say that the skeleton of this movie is not wholly original, right? In other movies, we would see the deaf culture presentation traded out for something else. It would either be a racial connotation or, again, cancer or something like that. Right. But I think that educationally in presenting deaf presentation and culture and little nods to this movie, I knew that was something I was gonna come out of way liking if they did it right, throughout the whole film, and I think they did that very, very well.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the things where, again, if you're in the know on deaf culture, you see more hints and little nods that they're doing in this movie than if you don't know about it. And I did appreciate the little nuances and things like that. Again, having somebody who's hearing in the family feel at odds and unconflicted and stuff like that. And again, that's not unique specifically to deaf culture, but hearing the frustration of feeling I feel like I am a servant to my family because of these circumstances, and that's not fair to me. So I think that's a that in itself is a little bit of a story less told often, so I can appreciate like that as a main source of like heart and frustration in this movie made it a lot more manageable than just seeing like the trademark skeleton with it. Now the beats, we already knew there's gonna be a drama thing, there's gonna be a kiss scene or something. Those are predictable overall. But I think when the movie has heart, I think it lands for me in some of the other things. I think, and that's gonna be like a big divide. I can already tell on like probably where we land on scores by the time it's all said and done is when the moments that present heart
are supposed to be
right or are
heavier,
supposed to be engaging and heavy. Does it land or does it not? And there are some moments that I felt like actually still landed really well. The audition scene I really actually enjoyed it. Again, you see a little predictable note because the movie starts with like the love interest guy being like, I choked.
Yeah, I fucked it up.
Yeah. He's like mom spaghetting his way out of there. Which actually I loved.
Why would he say that?
Yeah.
Why would he say that?
Why do you say that to her? Like, and then literally that's the last we see of him, which I love because I did not care for that character. So seeing him kind of.
You see him at the end whenever she's like on her way leaving.
True, yeah.
Fuck yeah, we do see him one more time.
Yeah,
see him once more, but still, it's implied that like he's the biggest failure in the rest of his career.
No, he hangs himself. So he goes to find the boat that he took from England all the way. Actually, fuck, this ruins the timeline because in Sing Street they go on the boat and they're supposed to they die. But now it shows that his boat made it all the way.
It would make sense.
It made it to the fucking he's alive still.
He got lost and across the ocean.
But but the girlfriend had to have died along the way. He had to eat her, and then he makes it. That's okay. No, actually, you know what? I like him more for this fan fiction.
That's why he's so dark. But he's also trying to fit in as though he's a high schooler still, even though he looks slightly older.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he doesn't know what to do with himself.
Well, in European schools, maybe he got out earlier, right?
He can still play the guitar.
He can still play. He's like
he can still play guitar.
Yeah. All right. You know what? I know it's all bullshit. I like him a little bit more for this.
Better not increase your score.
It won't. It won't.
I feel like it affected his Sing Street score.
Yeah.
The ending did.
Okay. Well, to be fair, that my ending makes sense, and I choose to believe that's the headcanon of what happens. Mm-hmm. So the girl dies. It's still tragic. Okay.
But anyways, the audition.
Yeah. Go watch our Sing Street review to see what the hell we're talking about. But the audition. Listen, I think whenever the parents do come in and sits down, she's like really owning it and stuff like that. I think it was, I don't know, it lands for me.
Yeah.
But something we mentioned a little bit earlier, Price, you were saying how you weren't really on board with the music teacher on this one. Mm-hmm. And you felt as though he was like a cheaper character and stuff like that. So, I don't know.
I've seen this character a million times.
I mean, I have, but
that's the thing, for sure.
No, it is very much a Glee episode. You're right. I thought the same thing. I was like, this is a Glee episode? But sometimes I don't know. It all comes down if it lands or not. But with that guy, I didn't feel like it was so much he was cheap. It's just that like he's doing that coach thing, and he's not Frank Grillo and like Warrior or anything like that, which is a ridiculous standard to hold him to.
Frank in there.
Okay, so he's not Frank Grillo, which is the bar, but like underneath here, then there's probably like Rocky and like Creed, and then it's probably like I don't know. This music teacher's like in the middle. He's fine.
There's John Roca from Never Back Down.
Sure, yeah. Okay.
And then there's this guy.
I think he's fine. Like I don't think he's bad. I think what he does in the movie is predictable. Again, I mean that's the one thing we can all say like to death on this movie.
I think we should have had Whiplash on this.
Oh yeah,
Put him.
Well, he's depending on the perspective.
Guy, he's the choir coach.
Where does he go?
Yeah, I'm like bad, good, unhealthy.
Violent?
Just imagine how. Imagine that.
There's
a
different
man.
It would be quadrants
with a choir.
We would have like effective and ineffective, and then we'd have healthy and unhealthy.
Yeah.
He's effective but incrly unhealthy. That's the only way to quantify.
What did he say? Like you're out of are you out of tune or something?
Yeah.
Are you out of
tune? 1, 2. Are you out of tune or am I? We're not here to talk about these other movies today, but I thought it was fine. Like I thought like what he did was like very. It wasn't like over the top, but like it hit whenever it needed to. At least with like the. I appreciate the silly breathing one, the dog breathing one, and then like he's clearly fixated on her, and because he's like she's kind of like a favorite for him early on already. After he already kind of gets the impression.
He sees something in her that's
right.
Like, he takes her.
But then he looks at everybody else and he sees them, and I appreciate that it's not just him like focusing. He's like, no, everybody fucking do it. A, it makes her feel better, but B, like this is what the teacher should be doing. Like you can't just pick favorites in class. So. Mm-hmm. But he did give them a duet really quickly, and he's just like, yeah, you two are the best. It's like not even close. These guys suck. I'm not going to hire that.
I feel like a lot of the other people in that choir were totally fine.
They were. They were. Yeah, the Happy Birthday one.
Her voice wasn't exceptionally better than anybody else, I think.
I think it's all like the same tier still. Like,
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, true. If they had like chances to sing like
singers.
full songs and stuff like that, then yeah, that's fair. Well, yeah, I don't know. I think like my biggest overall like just positive on this is that this movie clearly has heart, that it is trying to hit highs at times with its like drama, and I already I could say with most certainty that it landed more for me than this side of the spectrum over here. On pure bias alone, but again, that's the threshold of like how comfortable are you in this setting to begin with.
Well, yeah. In this movie, once it starts out, it's like the end of its journey is still positive where it was wanting to go. It's just all the stuff that happens in between it, right? So like, there was some funky stuff that happened in between it that was very cliche, very cheesy, but like at the end of the day, it's still gonna end just like all the other teen dramas. But anyways. Moving on to some trivia, I've got one thing. Apple saw this at a film festival and bought it for $25 million, which was a record. Which I think is cool because Apple is obviously, what you see, everything that they're coming out with now, they're getting more and more steam with like all of their casting and all of new stars.
We want our stuff.
Yeah, and Apple can obviously pay it, so like... a movie like this, that was probably a steal for them to be
considering nominated it's an Oscar nom for Best Picture,
which... Me and
I still don't feel like
our whole car ride home, me and Jill were talking about it, and I kept saying there's no reason this should win it, but everything else is so subpar that like this is still in the talkings of Best Picture, but it's just
as I'll flesh this out more off screen, but I will sit here and say, having watched almost every single Best Picture nom, it definitely deserves to be in the Best Picture discussion. That's what I will say, and you can take away to love or hate that.
What a year!
It is, and part of it is one of those years.
I'm on the side of things where like I've seen most of the Best Picture noms, and they are not that great. Like Belfast was just okay. Like it was just slightly more than okay. This one was just slightly more than. This one was just slightly more than, and that's pretty much all the Best Pictures this year, I think.
Which, I mean, this is probably now like having been affected by COVID too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. These are the implications of like post-COVID productions and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's like that's a whole different like.
But I guess we'll find that out later. We're not going to date this.
No, we're not going to date this, but we will find out soon
We'll figure out who won this.
How that Oscars all played out.
Do you think No Way Home could have got Best Picture?
No, because there's a incredible bias against.
I mean, movie-wise.
So, like. As in, like, quality of film, I feel like it's Best Picture worthy? Again, bias on my perception, but if I'm putting aside my biases and just saying, like, okay, as an enjoyable, like, film in that standard, yeah. I mean, honestly, they let Dune in, but Dune makes a lot of sense, because Dune peripherals are in everything. Makeup, cinematography, score, these ones, and I honestly, like, I have it winning all of those. Like, I just dead up do, because I think that technically it's a fantastic movie. So I get why it would be Best Picture nom, despite being kind of like a pop culture movie.
Yeah.
In the same way, like, I would sit there and say, yeah, I mean, I would, but I'm way more comfy with the idea of being, like, a huge geek that I am. But even if I'm trying to put that geek bias aside, as enjoyable it is, the biggest thing I could say against it is that it's a sequel, so much of the payoff is watching Spider-Man movie before then. So if you're just watching, if you have price mentality, as you would say, you'd go in there and be like, I don't give a shit about any of the other movies, I want to watch a sequel and the end of a trilogy, and feel like I'm included, which is a silly concept, but
I've never
That's
said
not what
that.
you say. That's not what he says at all. He says that, like...
It's like
I want to know what's going on. I want to be able to stand up on its own and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But, okay, but if you're
We're getting off topic. We're talking about Coda.
Well, you asked, so...
I asked this one,
I'm never going to be that simple. But, anyway, last thing I'll point out.
That then?
Yep. No, one last thing.
Oh, okay.
I want to point out. I thought the dad's performances were really well throughout the whole film. I'll keep it simple to that.
Besides the fact that he was basically just placed to be an awkward time for her from start to finish.
All right. Did you
agree.
laugh in the post-sex scene one where he's sitting here talking about...
I was so tired of that stuff.
Honestly, for starters, I just love how fucking plainly graphic and straightforward sex signs are. Because it, like, everything you're watching, I'm like, yeah, that's and, like, regional variance aside, because there's a little nuance difference between, like, Northeastern. But I laughed. I don't know.
My thing was, like, okay, so they were at the doctor's office, and he had, like, jock itch or whatever. that part was funny because, like, she was having to basically
she was stuck in that
everything
position.
that he was saying, which was funny.
I love that.
Then she had the boy over. They're like doing their thing, and then like the parents are caught having sex, and then they're just like
they turned it on them.
Then they do this whole number, and like and then they had to do it again, and I'm like, oh my god, this poor girl. Like
I
felt for the selfish girl. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
This poor girl that's like awkward at the drop of a hat, and she has this family that doesn't give a fuck about anything, and will put her in all of these situations. That's why like her mom got on my last nerve. Her brother, I feel like, was pretty normal.
Yeah, I think he's pretty middle of the road. Like,
and her dad was just honest, but they all just kind of got on my nerves a little bit. That was my qualm with this movie. That's what I was going to point out later on. Fat Thin, let's go, Bryce.
Fat Thin. I think it's fit.
Sought out to what it needed to do.
It's what, an hour 38, right around an hour 40, right?
I honestly don't know the runtime. I just got done with it. It was like, that's what it needed. Mm-hmm. It told its story. It came, it went.
I think it's right around an hour 40.
So did the dad.
I mean, it told everything it was trying to tell. I don't know. I don't think there's anything like things you would cut. Why would you do it? Like, cut the romance stuff? Like, I mean, if you didn't like it, would you want to cut that? Sure, but why? That's not what you do with a movie like this. Mm-hmm. It was formulaic, and it followed the formula. So
then she has nothing to move forward with. Like,
she has her singing thing, right?
And the romance of it, like she can get both.
Yeah, it shows that that's true. I guess without the romance, it would feel like she was
just duetting with someone that she didn't care about.
Well, no, even more than that. Like the implication is that she still doesn't have friends and she's still socially awkward. She's just more confident as a singer, so that's less engaging than
she's on her way to Berkeley.
Right, personal character growth on that one. Yeah, fit. I mean, I agree. Like the runtime does not overstay its welcome at all. I think that it does exactly what it needs to in the time that it was given. So.
Yeah, I mean it's fit. Even with those little like parent parts, like they're just meant to be there to show you how awkward this poor girl is, like, surviving through high school days, which wasn't bad for it. It was just over and over again. The questions basically already covered. I don't think.
I think we covered a couple questions by the time it turned out.
Yeah. All right, so we're rolling on.
Scores.
Yeah, okay, well, I'll go ahead and give my score. This movie's still a little bit above average. The teen drama aspect really didn't get to me. The only time that it did kind of get to me was at the one point where he told, like, basically they were going to lunch and they were in the cafeteria and they all started snickering because, like, he told about them having sex and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's like, all right, I don't care about this. Let's just keep it rolling. And they had a little falling out that you're expecting and stuff. But everything else is still pretty novel. But at the same time, I kind of disagree with Mesa. I didn't think the music was too outstanding. I think it's just a cappella kind of stuff, which is kind of the opposite of what I want. Like, the Whiplash music is some of the best music I've heard in a while in a movie. I love that kind a lot more than the vocalized kind that we got in this movie.
Wasn't that song called Whiplash? He just kept saying, like, Whiplash.
Yeah, they did like two. They did like two different songs, but one of them was Whiplash that they did over and over. That was the big one.
One's like Twist My Nipples, Donnie, or whatever.
Johnny Utah.
Pages, bitch. Unfortunately, I think the movie was too focused on the main girl, and like I think the family was kind of pushed out a little bit. I don't think we got enough development on their side. I think we got the most development from her brother, where you can kind of tell he's being pulled by like he wants to be a good brother and help his family, but he doesn't have the skills really to do that, and he's really trying. I liked his character quite a bit, but everybody else kind of fell flat. The music teacher was just typecast. The movie ended exactly how you expected, but still it was a fine enough watch on the first go around. So I'm gonna go. I decided between 5.5 and 6, but I think I'm gonna go 5.5 because I think I'm gonna forget about this movie fairly quickly.
I'll remind you.
Yeah.
Okay.
This movie was highly formulaic. It took like its one novel concept, plugged it in, and saw how that would apply to this kind of a story. It's boring. Seen it plenty of times. I think there's many movies that do this sort of thing better, and it's nice that they made this film that's about this kind of situation, but I feel like they could have made a better movie using those bones, and they didn't. So like 4.5 is what I'm gonna give it.
More generous than I thought
just
you were
below
gonna be.
average.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you said, forgettable. I won't remember this movie.
I will. I liked it. This had I mean, again, the deaf culture thing's always if it plays right, because again, you can't just chew in a concept and then sit there and be like, oh, I'm gonna give this movie a really good score, because if it's done poorly, then I'm gonna be like extra mad at it for that case, right? Cueing movie therapy. Fucking every one of you guys wants to fucking put a therapist in there, and you do a shitty fucking
Remember
job.
The Departed had a therapist in there?
Yeah, she has sex with the guy.
That everybody pours.
Every fucking time.
Darko.
Yeah, she's bad too. God, dude, you're getting me hot. You're getting me hot. But it's movie therapy's done so fucking bad. We are so often the villains in cinema. But the deaf culture isn't. The deaf culture is done well. It does a good job of presenting the stuff. For me, the performances land. A lot of the stuff's good. The highs and the hearts, I felt like I was really on board with on this stuff. Is it formulaic? Yes. Is it predictable? Yeah. I mean, for sure. This movie definitely isn't coming off and trying to sit there and go over the top in its narrative on being predicted, but in that case, I have to sit here and say, if it's predictable, then at least it's the heart in the performances. And it is for me. And I think in a lot of ways, like, yeah, the mom gets, like, deplorable, and I think that if you can get on board with being so frustrated with the mom, then all right, great. Then this is from her daughter's perspective, who is frustrated with her. So I think that plays. I think whenever dad is being heartfelt but honest and straightforward, I think that all that stuff lands. I don't know. I had a really good time with it. I laughed at even some of the dumb jokes, and I thought that was like a good sign for me. Like the dad farting and like deaf culture joke.
Yeah.
I admit that it's a dumb joke, but I'll admit that the execution of the joke made me laugh still. So I'm like, all right, I'm on board with it. Pun intended. It's a fishing movie. But yeah, so I'm gonna go high, 8.5. I really enjoyed this movie. It wins for me in a lot of ways. That fucking cinematography, though, God, it's bad. I don't like how it's shot. I'll show you trailers later. I'll show you.
With like maybe short shots, but like I actually thought that the scenes looked nice. It showed the coastal life pretty darn well.
Right.
It was gritty.
Again, it's not what's on the screen. It's the filter over it, right? Like it's the cinematography and what is on screen is good, but it's just the filter. I don't know, something about it. Just Also, Sing Street Kid. To be fair, now there's more plot to this headcanon, so this keeps going on. Can we put another one of his movies up soon?
Yeah, if he has anything else.
If he has anything else, I need to see this headcanon, but go on ahead, Mason.
So I will say, this movie, whenever it first was, like, announced, it was another one of those, like, Raw situations or anything like that, where, like, I had it on my watch list for at least, like, 8 to 10 months. Maybe even longer, because,
That's
like...
a gift and a curse. That's
it was before the trailer had come out. It was that and Flea. I don't know if you watched Flea. It was an Afghanistan movie. It just came out. Anyways, so this movie, I was already high expectations for it. I will also say that I started out, as soon as I watched this movie, I had it at a 9. Upon rewatch, it is between a 7.5 and an 8 for me, because it's, for all of these exact reasons. I don't think that it holds anything more special up. It's not shinier, really, in any way, besides a little bit of the music that I personally enjoy. But I will land at an 8, and also we skated by the fact that, like, that little best friend of hers, that, like, at the very beginning was like, yo, I had sex with so-and-so. You know how we always call him little fingers? And then, like, she proceeds to,
I don't remember that line at all, actually.
No, she did. She was like, hey, I slept with Tim this summer.
No, I remember her mentioning that, but I don't remember, like, the fingers.
And they said, I guess, having, like, little hands doesn't mean something. Or, like, I guess we'll have to give him a new nickname. That's what she said. Anyways, and then she proceeds to, like, just tear after this girl's brother. And they're, like, obviously hooking up, and she sees everything. And I'm like, why did they do that to this movie? I don't know why. It just didn't make any sense, because I feel like that's off limits anyway. And if it's not, then, like, that's her issue. Her best friend is now her issue for, like, sleeping with her brother. Anyway.
I guess there's arguments to be
said. It's weird.
said.
I thought that was going to be said in this, but it wasn't.
If you cut anything, then maybe it's like that time. But even then, it's like...
But he needs something, too, I guess.
Yeah, he does. He needs something.
So I guess we, shoot.
So what'd you land on with this?
8.
8, okay.
It's just an 8. It's not anything super crazy special. I wrote the scores down last week.
How close were you on it?
I can't remember. I know I had Price at a 4.5, and I know I had you at a 9.
A 9?
I don't remember what I had Nathan at.
I thought you had me at a 9.
You saw 4, as I wrote 4, but it looked like a 90 or something.
Yeah. Here comes Jill. Jill, what do you give Coda?
6.5, maybe a 6.
Ouch. Nathan, I had you at a
high is only
7.5.
for the brother because
Oh,
he was
wow.
a great character.
That's what I said.
There you go.
He was one of my
He was
favorites.
fantastic, and I wanted his story way more than anybody else's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
needed
I
him
feel like
fleshed out.
his was.
Well, he
a-
can't
a
sing.
much more
Suck it, Jill.
interesting Rubble story. Like his definitely would have been more interesting because his character had a lot more meaningful shit going on than she did.
Yeah, like he wants to be like he's having issues, but he wants to show
This is
that
up to
deaf
date,
people
right?
can
Yeah.
be their own person. They don't need a hearing person to help them.
Yeah.
So critics' tomato meter is 95%. Audience score was a 93% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It actually surprises me.
Wow.
I get that this is Best Picture nom, so
Well, it's
in
new.
hindsight,
It's
it
new.
look right.
It's
In hindsight, it makes sense for critics to like it, considering the Best Picture nom. But in like before this ever gets nominated, I'm actually surprised it's that high.
well.
I think in a lot of the same way, critics would sit there and say, "Oh, fuck another teen drama," and then and kind of be in the same ballpark as they are with it.
I don't get it because to me, like, it really just seems like a better, like, an elevated Disney movie in how formulaic and childish it is. Aside from like the few very, like, there are a fair amount of very good scenes.
Mhm.
They're sprinkled throughout a very.
You just
formulaic
said Disney movie to spite me. Like, I don't even know what you mean by that. Like an elevated It's like an elevated or
I love
less
Disney
elevated.
movies, but Disney Channel movies. Sorry,
Okay.
I didn't say that correctly.
Okay.
Disney
Yeah.
Channel movies.
Gotcha.
Disney Channel original.
Yes, that's kind of what this movie felt like.
Better
all
or
the
worse
time.
than Luck of the
Mostly
Irish?
in
God, it's shot like one. Thank you. Now it's the fucking
Yeah, it kind of is.
the filter. It's
Yeah.
the goddamn filter.
We spin it.
Oh, okay.
I don't
yes,
think there's been that much
yeah.
spice on the wheel ever.
Yeah.
Sports
Is it
nonfiction.
yellow? I see yellow.
Price Bell.
I was just talking about this beforehand.
I think I would look into an ant. Well, it looks like
So
Nathan
it's
gets
like
it.
Mighty
No,
Ducks, right?
I don't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Mighty
have
Ducks is on the
anything for
table.
that.
Oh, Mighty Ducks is on the table.
I don't
Oh,
think that's real.
Dude, do D2.
How's that? I think it happened. No, it didn't.
No, it
Definitely
that
not.
didn't actually happen.
Because it's very similar to a story that did actually
Yes,
happen.
it's similar, but no.
Not the
Okay.
same.
Emilio Estevez.
If you
Well,
do D2,
Price.
would be really timely because they fight off against Russia in the World
I
Cup.
do not have one.
That's okay.
Well, we would normally do the trailer here, but because Price is unprepared.
Yeah, I definitely don't have one. Because I have to pick for every category, which
Yeah.
is a lot right now.
But you know that. We said that at the beginning. You even said out loud, "Oh, I don't got one. I'd probably pick an anime one."
I'm
Yeah.
picking
And
then he went into
Girls
the
in
review.
That means
Panzer
I
der
have to put another
Film.
movie on that wheel.
You got one
I don't
for
think
it?
you're
That
actually.
spot's been
It's
hit
got cute
3
anime
times
girls.
this season. That exact spot.
Wow.
I don't think.
I don't think that's even I don't even think that's a movie.
Yeah, it's probably hentai.
It's probably just a hentai or just straight
Do
anime.
you have like the ice skating one up?
Oh,
No,
you're
yeah.
right.
it's something.
No,
about,
because
it's something
there's not- it
about
has to be a
girl
movie.
tanks.
Yeah.
I don't know what that.
We don't have
That-
to do
now I
this
know there's a
discussion
video
here.
game about dating girl tanks.
It's a girl tank.
Okay.
What?
So the
Like literally,
Means
they're
a girl that is
tanks,
also-
but they're they're
Oh, anthropomorphic,
No,
yeah,
well,
or the human, but
whatever.
yeah,
you
like
would
Thomas the
call
Tank
that.
Engine. You know how he's like.
Oh
that
no,
Thomas the-
like they're anime girls, but they're actually tanks, and you can switch your
Oh.
view to where either they show up as a tank or as an anime girl.
Uh
Do
huh.
they have boobs either way?
No, well that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But Jill asking the right questions though, I appreciate that thought. So anyway, we would normally do our trailer segment and things like that, but I don't anticipate Price
That's
making
okay.
an educated opinion in the next 10 seconds on screen. So make sure to tune in
Like
next week
Seabiscuit.
for.
Seabiscuit.
No, please.
It's not
3
Seabiscuit.
Isn't
hours
it
of
what? Is
hell.
it with Tobey Maguire?
Yeah,
I have no idea.
it is.
Yeah,
Is
I
it
think it
Tobey
is.
Yeah.
Oh god, man, he's always in movies.
When you say nonfiction, does it have to be like a documentary then?
Yeah, is it based on a true story?
It's just a true sports movie. Like,
Okay. Okay.
that's- I mean,
So
it
Foxcatcher
could even
would've
be
gone.
animated, really, as long as it's based on a true story.
Foxcatcher
Yeah.
would have got it.
Yeah.
Foxcatcher would have counted.
No, I'm glad we got that shit out of the way.
Can we,
All
can we
right.
do it again?
No.
Yeah, retro review.
Abso-fucking-lutely not. We cannot watch that. I will watch Raw 3 times before I watch. No, I just wouldn't watch Foxcatcher. I just wouldn't. Anyway, guys, make sure to tune in next week for whatever the hell it is that we cover. It's going to be a sports nonfiction one. We could cue the trick. No, we can't. That's a joke.
That's okay.
We can't do it. It's fine. Sometimes we don't always
You can
have it.
Insert a trailer.
Well,
Yeah.
Nathan's
No,
already busy
Nathan
with this
won't.
episode.
No, we already put on a bunch of information earlier that Nathan.
Jeff
may or may
Bridges
not
is
get.
in it.
Anyway, guys, that's our show. If you like what we're doing and talking about, let us know in the comments below what you think. Do you think this movie lands for you? Do you think this should even be nominated? Some people did think it should be winning Best Picture. Who knows? I guess we'll find out. Well, by the time this airs, we'll actually know. So, good to know for that one. Make sure to give us a thumbs up because we watched the movie for you and told you all about it. And hit the bell so you know. hit the bell so you know whenever we put these movies out. We do them usually every Friday, but we're catching up with our routine, so I don't know. Stay tuned. Anyway, guys, that's it. Bye.
Bye. Is Concussion any good?
It's good.
I hear it's
Will
good.
Smith does a really good like Nigerian accent in it, or wherever he's from, Zimbabwe or.
It was not a Make or Base picture.